The Steet Ponte Auto Group in Yorkville and Herkimer and Turnbull Insurance Service since 1866 present Mohawk Valley Living, exploring the arts, culture, and heritage of our region. Pick up the new November issue of Mohawk Valley Living magazine today at our nearly 200 mom-and-pop advertiser locations. Find the complete list on our website, mohawkvalleyliving.com, where you can download and read the magazine online, also on Facebook.
Where does it lead me from here? If you ain't got smiles, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got love, that would be something, and I wouldn't even last, no, not a year. If you spend your time spinning your wheels, the bills, they never leave.
The Mohawk Valley Center for the Arts in Little Falls presents Local Art.
Takes your soul, takes your wife.
Tucked away just off of Mappa Ave in Barneveld, you'll find another world. A world of three-dimensional sculptures where steel is cut, welded, and twisted, encompassing and intermixing with stone and wood. In the basement underneath an old building, we find the studio of sculptor Richard Sherbinaw.
It just seemed to come naturally at a very young age. I was constantly drawing, just pencil and paper, and then later on it led into painting because of the color factor. I was able to get away from just line. I graduated from the University of New Hampshire with a degree in English literature, and it was difficult at that time to find a teaching position. So I ended up working for years in the retail market, but always on the side I was making art. So I spent a great deal of time at Munson Williams Proctor, and I studied with mostly Jim McDermott and several of the other instructors, but I leaned more towards sculpture. It's like I finally found a niche that I was comfortable with. Yeah, it's a natural thing. It just comes to some people, and I very seldom do any preliminary drawings for sculpture. Sometimes they form in my mind, and if I'm lucky enough, I can translate that form through the use of steel or stone or whatever medium I'm working with. It's just a compulsion that I have and I enjoy doing. I hope that they see an object that's meaningful and it occupies space in a meaningful way.
You can see some of Richard Sherbinaw's work in Barneveld at his studio, the post office, near the covered bridge, and the beautiful natural setting of the old Craig Manor farm. The Steet Ponte Auto Group is proud to bring Mohawk Valley Living to you each week, serving the Utica area and the Valley with outstanding customer service. In Yorkville at Steet Ponte Ford Lincoln Mazda, Steet Ponte Volkswagen, and Steet Toyota Scion. And in Herkimer at Steet Ponte Chevrolet. Stop in and see why it's so easy to do business with Steet Ponte. You go the extra mile for your small business and should expect the same from your insurance company. For over 140 years, Turnbull Insurance Service has been committed to local small business. For your commercial coverage, turn to the company ready to go that extra mile. Turn to Turnbull.
I love Mohawk Valley Living.
I love Mohawk Valley Living.
I love Mohawk Valley Living.
I absolutely love Mohawk Valley Living.
I love Mohawk Valley Living.
Mark your calendars for the 7th Annual Christmas in Little Falls, Saturday, December 13th. Enjoy a good old-fashioned Christmas with live music, carriage rides, and free family events. There is shopping and an indoor farmers market and artisans fair, Saturday, December 13th in Little Falls.
Now through December 31st, visit Cooperstown and the Fenimore Art Museum's new exhibition, Dorothea Lange's America. Explore Lange's intriguing Depression-era photographic images of migrant workers, suffering families, and tortured landscapes.
For more information, visit FenimoreArtMuseum.org.
The Fenimore Art Museum, overlooking Otsego Lake in Cooperstown. Great American art in a beautiful setting.
Melrose Supermarket is your family hometown market, known for their choice hand-cut meats, homemade breads, and fresh pastas and salads. Check out the weekly specials at Melrose Supermarket, East Main Street in Frankfort. Design it your way at Adirondack Furniture. Whether you're looking for furniture for your bedroom, living room, or dining room, you get to choose your style, wood type, finish, fabric, and hardware. American Made gives you the freedom of choice. Shop Adirondack Furniture for the best quality and price for solid wood furniture made in the USA. Ask about 0% financing and free delivery. Adirondack Furniture, Riverside Center, North Utica, and online at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com. Experience the magic of Candlelight Evening, a special event at the Farmers Museum. Take part in caroling, enjoy complimentary wassail warmed over open fire, and tour the grounds by horse-drawn wagon. An unforgettable tradition, sure to put your family in the holiday spirit. Saturday, December 13th from 3 to 7 at the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown. This week we head to the Queen Village of Oneida County, Camden, and it's a beautiful time to visit her decked out in her royal autumn robes. The main streets of this village are lined with historic Victorian homes that tell of a proud history.
To see what we can see.
The museum here in Camden is called the Carriage House Museum. That's because it was a carriage house to the home next door, and the home next door is significant because of one of the people who lived there. It's Rich Lormer. Rich Lormer was the architect of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington, Virginia.
The Carriage House Museum houses artifacts directly related to the history of Camden and is also a valuable source of information for genealogists. We asked our tour guide, Ellie, why the village was crowned queen.
Camden is known as the Queen Village of Oneida County, and we got that name because at one time Oneida County decided that they were going to have a contest, and each village, township, whatever, would dress up their shops and their homes. And when they had the contest, Camden was judged the most beautiful at the time, and that's how we became known as the Queen Village.
And the sadness in my heart will always grow.
A recent addition to the museum is the Dibbletown Schoolhouse, the recreation of a local one-room schoolhouse. Richard is the star pupil today and makes a correction on the blackboard.
Inside this prison, I cannot leave me. Inside this prison, I will forever be.
What is a small country village without its local hardware store? And the hardware store on this main street has been a part of the community for over 150 years.
I tried to run, but I ran much too.
When you walk into Carpenter's hardware store, take time to look at the floor and the ceiling. They're the same floor and ceiling that have been here since 1848 when it first opened as a hardware store. My good friend Jack Plumley started working here when he was 13 years old, and now it's being run by his son Jim. Hardware stores have always been and still are places where people would meet from the community to discuss and talk politics, so that on this very floor there were discussions at some point about slavery and about women's rights and about World War I, World War II, you name it.
Well, my dad was 13 years old when he came to work here in 1942. And at that time, he came to work for a gentleman by the name of Joe McFern. And Mr. McFern had bought the business in 1933. In 1944, 2 years after my dad came to work here, Bud and Thelma Carpenter purchased the business, and my father stayed on. And Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter never had any children, and my mom and dad had 7 kids. So we basically became their adopted family, and we all grew up working here. This place put 7 kids, 7 of us through college, you know, and never left. October 1994. Yeah, it became mine. My wife and I bought it. My wife Danielle and I purchased it be 14 years ago. I can't think of a nicer place in the world to live than Camden, New York, and the hardware business is a fun business. It's not easy, and it seemingly gets tougher by the day. It's a nice business. It's a nice business. We live in a town that provides us a great quality of life. I like the business, and this is what I want to do.
She has a little fun playing the piano too. She writes these songs that break your heart. If I could write a song, it'd be a miracle. If I could last that long, it'd be a miracle.
We're going to try to be good after our lunch and head to Forest Park to take a brisk fall walk. Forest Park is 117 acres with miles of smooth paved roads for walking, jogging, biking, birdwatching, and Richard's favorite fall activity, picnicking.
Autumn is my favorite time of the year. As a matter of fact, my wife and I are celebrating our wedding anniversary this week. And you want to look for places around the Mohawk Valley for a picnic in the autumn, come here to Forest Park because there are pavilions scattered all throughout the park. This one here is called Where Rivers Meet, and that's because at this very spot, the two bodies of water that meet are Mad River and Fish Creek, a truly, truly beautiful spot. Legend has it that at this very location where these two bodies of water meet, during the French and Indian War, a field piece was thrust in there and buried somewhere, and it was filled with coins, and to this day, I'm told that people are still looking for it.
Founded in 1923, Mystic Stamp Company has grown to be the largest company of its kind in the world. Their 50,000 square foot facility in Camden employs 150 stamp professionals who inspect, appraise, and catalog stamps, as well as assisting and servicing stamp collectors.
Archived here at Mystic Stamp Company are tens of millions of stamps. And if you come here, which you can, they have tours if you call ahead, you can see what I'm holding here in my hand. The very first stamp ever issued in the country was in 1847, and Benjamin Franklin was on the stamp. It was a 5-cent stamp, and I think it has to be one of the very few things in our country where the cost of stamps went down, because in 1851, the cost went from 5 cents to 3. As we were touring the mazes here at Mystic Stamp Company, I happened to ask if they had any of Mark Twain, and within a matter of minutes, they were able to bring up this stamp of Mark Twain. It's a 10-cent stamp, which I can now buy for $2, did you say? Or $3.50, thereabouts. This one's in mint condition, and it was issued in 1940, the year before I was born. I also asked about a stamp from the year that I was born, and again, within a matter of minutes, they were able to bring out for me this stamp, which is a 3-cent stamp from 1941. It's Vermont. And the interesting thing is that because of the war, it was the only stamp issued that year.
My father started collecting as a kid in Connecticut, and then loved stamps so much he wanted to make that his life's work. And so he and my mother started a company in New Hampshire. And I was 5 years old, and my father introduced me to stamps on the porch. And he gave me a little paper-bound album and showed me some stamps and how to hinge stamps in. And I worked for my dad in high school, and I loved stamps and loved the history and the geography. And then my family bought this company in 1974, and I moved to Camden then to manage it. Our mission is to bring the fun and excitement of collecting to a wide audience. And so we're running advertisements and on the internet and trying to introduce collectors all across America to the fun of stamps. And then everything else we do is really to serve that mission. People will write in to us and order stamps. We'll ship them the stamps. We'll send them stamps on credit for them to look at their house, and they keep what they want and pay for what they don't want and return it. And so we have people that are talking to customers, buying stamps, packaging stamps, selling stamps, everything to serve the collector. People love the history. The designs are really interesting. It encourages you to learn about the world. I spoke to a man that started a very large company, and he said that when he was a boy, stamps gave him a world view. He lived in a small town, and it allowed him to see the world. Well, 10 years ago, my son and I went to an auction in New York and paid almost $1 million for the rarest U.S. stamp, a 1-cent Z-grill. And then 3 years ago, we traded that with a representative of Bill Gross, who's a fantastic stamp collector. And we traded for the unique inverted Jenny plate number block, which Mr. Gross had just paid $3 million for. I think that I love stamps. I think they're just a lot of fun, and I love helping collectors build collections. That's a lot of fun too, and I love all the people that work here in Camden. We've got a great group of people.
I was once young and free, but my troubles got me to this mess.
Over at the Camden High School, the North Star All-Stars are warming up. They are a cheerleading squad made up of young ladies from all over the region. Together, they make a competitive team that travels to competitions all over the country.
Well, we got started about 5 years ago, and we're known as the North Star All-Star Cheerleaders, and we travel on the East Coast and compete against teams at our level. We have girls from Utica, we have them from Lee Center, Oneida, Vernon, Camden, Rome, Oneida. I mean, they come from all over. If they want to travel this way and compete and be on the team with us, we have 3 teams this year, which more will come as the month goes on. We have more tryouts. But right now, the senior team, which is behind me, has been going most of the time. They go year-round. Oh, my daughter got me into it. I've been coaching for 16 years, but I was at the Pop Warner level, and she wanted more of a competition thing, so she had me start the All-Star team, and now she's in college, and I'm still going on with the All-Star team.
Why do you keep doing it?
For the kids. It's important. They love to do it, and if you took it away from them, there's nothing else for them that they're interested in, and this is what they love to do. So 3 nights a week, I coach and we practice, and my husband helps me, and we all get involved.
How have you guys done it?
Actually, this year we haven't competed, but last year, fabulous. We went to nationals and did awesome there. At different competitions, we were placing 2nd and 3rd place, and they've done really well. We've got grand champions out of it, so they're very, very well-skilled kids.
The Mohawk Valley, let's see what we can see. It's time for the Cooper Group's road trip. It's time for...
When planning your family's future, turn to the principles of the past. Turn to Turnbull. Turnbull Insurance Service is an independent agency representing the most dependable companies for all your insurance needs, as well as complete financial planning and wealth management. Call today for a free assessment. Enjoy a free evening of jazz with the Hamilton College Jazz Ensemble, Tuesday, December 9th at 7:30 p.m. And reserve your tickets now for the Nutcracker with Utica Dance, featuring live musical accompaniment by the Hamilton College Orchestra, Saturday and Sunday, December 13th and 14th at 7:30 p.m. Utica Dance will also feature 2 matinee performances at 2 p.m. Call 859-4331 to reserve your tickets for the Nutcracker at the Welland Hall Schambach Center for Music and the Performing Arts at Hamilton College in Clinton.
Now through December 31st, visit Cooperstown and the Fenimore Art Museum's new exhibition, Dorothea Lange's America. Explore Lange's intriguing Depression-era photographic images of migrant workers, suffering families, and tortured landscapes.
For more information, visit FenimoreArtMuseum.org.
The Fenimore Art Museum, overlooking Otsego Lake in Cooperstown. Great American art in a beautiful setting.
Paca Gardens has the largest selection of the finest alpaca clothing and products in central New York. The store has doubled in size and features hundreds of sweaters for men, women, and children starting at just $39.95. There are also dozens of styles of soft alpaca socks in a rainbow of colors, including therapeutic socks to aid circulation. There are also warm hats, mittens, and scarves. Paca Gardens offers layaway and gift certificates and is open 7 days a week through Christmas at 27 West Main Street in Little Falls. Fall fashion begins at the Village Crossing. Shop for the latest in women's attire, jewelry, shoes, and handbags designed to delight. The Village Crossing on the Village Green in Clinton.
I, R.A. Dudrak, the Window King, invite you to visit our showroom in Holland Patent, or we'll come to your home by appointment. We've been installing replacement windows for over 45 years. Keep your palace cool in the summer and warm in the winter by adding new windows. Many styles and selections to choose from. Bay, bow, garden, and double hung, single hung, and slider windows. The Window King also introduces color replacement windows. So take a short drive to R.A. Dudrak, Holland Patent, and tell them the Window King sent you.
Expecting company? Just call Deansboro Superette. They prepare delicious Middle Eastern platters for any number of guests. Call 841-4377. Deansboro is located on the banks of the Oriskany Creek, which was the channel for the Shenango Canal and later the Ontario and Western Railroad. The land along the Oriskany Creek was rich and deep and made for good farming. Deansboro became a farming community producing grains and hops. The Marshall Historical Society is located in the town hall. Historian Dorothy McConnell tells us that the town was named for John Marshall, an American statesman. She also tells us about Samson Occam, a Mohegan Indian who founded the Brothertown settlement. To learn more about this interesting settlement, we visit Dean White, who became interested in local history when he purchased a home that was part of the Brothertown community. It is now home to his family and his pottery business.
Let's see what we can see.
I've lived in this house for about 30 years, and when I first moved here, the man that I bought the house from told me the Indians once built the house. And it really sparked my interest because I thought, you know, Indians didn't live in houses, and then it made me research more about the Indians that lived here. Well, in the 1700s, there were 7 New England tribes that came here from the New England states, and they really wanted to live as the white men. They wanted to become Christianized and start a new way of life. So they came here and formed a community, built schools, houses, and churches, and built the homes that they lived in. When I was starting to renovate the house, one of the Indians had written his name in the mortar in the back part of the house. And the last name was Fowler, Rodolphus Fowler. And so that made me want to research the family back as far as I could to find out exactly how old the house was. And I found out that it was started in 1775. And the Fowler family was actually the original relatives of Samson Occam, which was the missionary that brought the Indians here to form the community.
It's a very important house because it's the oldest one in Oneida County. It was built in 1775, even before we were a country. And it's on the corner of Bogasville Hill Road. I've driven by this for years and years and years, and now I know the meaning of it. It seems that shady entrepreneurs existed even back in the 1800s. There was one fellow in particular who was supposed to be doing manufacturing of silver spoons across the street from here. In fact, what he was into the business of was counterfeit coins. When the federal agents came here to arrest him, he jumped out of a window, ran up the hill with his plates and buried them. They're probably still up there someplace. And they were the bogus plates that he used, and that's why this is called Bogasville Hill Road.
Just trying to find my way back home.
Most people in the Mohawk Valley, when they think of canals, they think of the Erie Canal, but there's another one that was very important to our history, and that's the Shenango Canal. And Deansboro was one of the ports along the Shenango Canal. There was also a railroad that came through here, right here behind me. You can enjoy it yourself because there's a trail that goes all the way from Clinton to just a little bit short of Oriskany Falls. You can bike it or hike it, and when you do, you go by this very, very old-fashioned train station in the heart of Deansboro.
Make the Clinton Shopper Stroll part of your family tradition. The village is decorated with thousands of white lights. Music and the aroma of roasting chestnuts fill the air, and shopkeepers invite you in for holiday treats. The Clinton Shopper Stroll, all day the Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving. The Steet Ponte Auto Group is proud to bring Mohawk Valley Living to you each week, serving the Utica area and the Valley with outstanding customer service. In Yorkville at Steet Ponte Ford Lincoln Mazda, Steet Ponte Volkswagen, and Steet Toyota Scion. And in Herkimer at Steet Ponte Chevrolet. Stop in and see why it's so easy to do business with Steet Ponte.
Welcome to the Little Falls Antique Center in the shops at 25 West. Come on in and browse thousands of unique items that change on a daily basis. Shop for yourself or for someone else. We're open every day from 10 to 5. We look forward to your visit here at historic Canal Place in Little Falls.
Call Yannick Excavating for all your residential and commercial projects, from new construction and land clearing to septic systems, driveways, basements, ponds, and topsoil. Visit yannickexcavating.com. Meelan's Market is your holiday meat headquarters, featuring low-salt, low-fat smoked ham and store-made kielbasa. Try their famous crown roast of pork or prime rib, and be sure to pre-order your fresh seafood and shrimp platters. Meelan's Market at the Four Corners in Clark Mills. Tom's Natural Foods is your connection to local farms for natural and organic fruits and vegetables, meats, eggs, cheeses, and other milk products. At Tom's Natural Foods in Clinton, naturally.
The people you know, the rock you love, and more songs per hour. 92.7 FM, The Drive, Central New York's locally owned independent rock station.
Watch Mohawk Valley Living every Sunday and pick up our free monthly magazine. Inside are stories by local writers, area guides, things to do, and more. Find out today why people are calling it their favorite magazine. Mohawk Valley Living. See what's in it for you.
I am on the ground floor of the Berry Hill Bookshop, and above me are two more floors. If you go up there, you are actually in literally for a literary adventure. That was pretty good, huh? Continue, right? Not only will you find books here, thousands of books, you're going to find other things like sheet music. This was my mom and dad's favorite, Peg of My Heart. You can find old magazines like this one from April 11th, almost, 46 years ago, 1961. Then you can find by the front some collector's items, and this is incredible. I'm holding in my hand The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Now, I helped clean out their Mark Twain section here about a year ago. This is one of the collector's items, and why it's a collector's item is this. It has 5 mistakes in it. The original that was published years ago had 6. So that the fact that there are 5 in this one is very important from the collector's standpoint. Although this particular book might cost you a couple of $100s, you can go up to the 3rd floor here and buy one of them to read to your grandchildren. What a wonderful story it is. And it will cost you only $1.
Well, the shop originally began about 1968. It began just sort of a part-time thing, part-time hobby. We always collected books, whole family, and gradually got so many books. My father and mother decided we better do something with them. So we put a sign up, opened the shop, and sold a few here and there. My father was a teacher. He would take some for his students. My mother ran the shop while he was teaching and I was still in school. I took over full-time in 1978 after I graduated, and since then we've grown from just the downstairs here, where there were a few hundred books, to 3 floors and about 80,000 books.
When you come here, you can meet some celebrities. Well, this one you meet in a picture, but here's Lauren Bacall. It's an autographed picture of Lauren Bacall that you can pick up for $15. And then there are also some live celebrities. Buster over here. Buster is the resident cat, and the cat is named after Buster Keaton.
Got a head like a beam. He steers a T-bird like you never seen. Picks up the young one.